From time to time, I've received some requests to do that Michael Lemmo thing on Norman's Red guitar, so I finally decided to give it a shot. Before we start though, I would like to point out that I'm showing you my rendition of Michael's piece, and I don't really play exactly like Michael does in his original video, but the main ideas are here. There are two main things that you should know to play this piece. It's okay if you don't know them, but it would be much easier if you do. So the first thing is the E natural minor scale, because the whole piece is built on this scale in the key of E natural minor. And you should know all the notes in E natural minor scale across the fretboard so that it's easier to navigate around when you're playing the piece. What I mean by that is like and it also helps to know all the chords that are native to the key of E natural minor. So like that's the first thing you should know. The second thing would be hybrid picking. Hybrid picking is pretty much combining the flat picking with a pick and with your middle and ring finger. You might notice that I have long nails on my right hand fingers. That's because I'm doing acoustic fingerstyle these days, and for that style of playing I really need to have long nails. But for hybrid picking, you most certainly do not need to have long nails. In fact, some people would argue that the tone is better when you play with flash than with nails. So for hybrid picking, basically you hold a pick like this, like you always do, right? And the pick would play the bass note. Right? Your middle and ring fingers would play the melody lines. So I'm definitely not an expert in hybrid picking. I'm probably like far from it, but as a start, you could position your hands like this, right? And one thing that's very important is that you should always be in the palm muted position at all times. So I think you should know about palm muted by now, because that's pretty much like, I would say, the fundamental techniques of like electric guitar, because like when you play power chords, have that staccato percussive sound. You can't let it ring like this. You can't really let it ring like this. Right? Yeah, so you should place it like this, like just partially muting your bridge, right? I'm sure if the camera angle is like good for that. Oh shit. your middle ring fingers would be like anchoring on the top two strings at any point of time. And remember, all the movements shall come from your wrist, right? You shouldn't have to, move your forearms because it just wouldn't be like economic enough, like your movement would be too much to play the bass note and the melody lines at the same time. Plays it like this so that you can play the bass note like in a percussive way and not right. And also right. So that's the two things that I think you should know before you want to play this piece. It's okay if you don't know them, but you probably have to spend like a little bit more time when you're trying to learn this song then. So the first part is right. The first part starts on the 12th position, right? So it's pretty much an E minor. You have the E and then you have the G. Right. And on top of doing this, Michael is doing an embellishment. That embellishment is pretty much just to make the melodic lines more interesting. The way I play is that I like to use my ring fingers for all the melodic lines, like right. I'll play it slower. You are free to alternate between your middle finger and your ring finger for all you like. And in fact, it's more economical to do that, just that it just feels more natural to just use one finger to play all the melodic lines, right? I guess if you want to, you can do it like this. In terms of rhythm, you have to make sure that it's a very consistent gallop. For me, I find it a little bit easier if you do a little bit of that pick slanting. So instead of placing it like completely parallel to the string, it's a little easier if you, like pick at an angle. Do it like this as well, but it's just that it has a little bit more resistance when you pick it. Right. You would notice that Michael actually plays most of the bass note with his thumb, like. So for me, I kind of have a smallish hand. It just feel more natural for me to play like this, by fretting the bass note with my other fingers. So you can totally play like him, just fretting all the bass note with your thumb. One thing about the rhythm, you want to make sure like it's galloping like consistently. If you don't play the melodic lines, you'll probably hear a rhythm like this. The thing is, you want to make sure like everything is like cohesive together. So make sure you hold on to the bass note as long as possible just before the next shift. Right? And not like you gotta make sure that you keep that bass note consistent. So this first part is pretty much shifting a bass pattern across the fretboard. Okay, so this is where your knowledge of the fretboard comes in, because he's doing a descending pattern across the E natural minor scale. So the bass pattern will be this. Then you just repeat on the 10th position, right? And then the 8th position, right? And then the 7th position. So that's pretty much E minor, D major, C major, B minor, A minor, G major, and B major, and just doing like a chromatic thing that leads up to a dominant 7. I'll do like a close up on the right hand. So the second part is so-called chorus. So it goes something like So what that is actually just made out of 2 chords. Okay, so the first one is right. So this is E5, which is an E power chord, but with a flat 5. Okay, so E power chord would be, you have the B, E, B. It's like an inversion of but it's a power chord nonetheless. But instead of playing, you're playing. So it has that flat 5, which is the tritone, which just backs for resolution, which is why it sounds interesting, because basically it's this chord just it wants to be resoluted back to this. So that's pretty much the first part of the chorus. And the second chord is actually an A minor. I think Michael actually plays it like this. But I just like to play with the thumb this time. Right? And again, this time around we're playing with that flat 5 thing. So it's like this is A minor. Right? I want to do that resolution thing that alternate between the flat 5 and back to the 5, you know, so it's like together. That's right. So the part that comes after is like a passing melody, you know, like instead of playing, it's very boring. Michael actually would like build on top of that melody with like extra harmonies. I don't really play the fourth string, but it just makes sense in my head to have a, you know, like a full chord position. Just it makes more sense to me, although I don't play this note, right? The part after that is just like the repeat of the first part. You want to make sure you have that the slap there, you know, and I think that in order to get the pop sound, you need to like strike at a pretty specific area, which is like somewhere around the middle of the pickup. So the part that comes after is again patterns, which is in a ascending manner. Everything in E natural minor. Seriously, like if you know that skill well, you will have absolutely no problem with this piece, you know, at least in terms of the notes. So so just playing this pattern, up, down, I think there's like not much to explain there, you know, just like a pattern and just keep moving it. So the part after that is this section is pretty much made out of two chords. The first chord is a good old C major. You're just playing like in a more melodic ways, you know. And then you transition into and that itself is it's a good old A minor. The part that comes after is again more chord changes, which is right, it's good old G major, F major, C major, right? So it's pretty much made out of three chords, like I show you. But just that the way Michael plays it, he's doing this very unique way of playing chords, you know. Here we have a section that just kind of transitions to the final climax. It is a ascending kind of lick, that just pretty much fills up the gap from the previous section and go back to the chorus. Right, that's how I play it, but I think Michael just plays me like a slide or something, The last part is actually like a repeat of the chorus.